Hello and welcome to a brand new series on the channel, and you might know what it is just by the bike in the background. Today we are starting a brand new career mode on another milestone bike game, but this one is Mxgp 2021. Now it has been out for a bit. I did wait of picking it up. I heard a lot of bad things about it, but it came on sale and I was eager to try it out myself. Now I have played about 5 hours of online with a friend of mine, and I think it's quite good. It is definitely quite tricky, but today we're starting our career mode, so we're going to jump straight into it, and we're going to do it all here live. And to participate in the first weekend of the season, you should decide to race for a sponsor or an official team. Now I am going to ride for an official team because I like it more. So who can I ride for? So you must be, oh, it goes off levels, right? So from the Husqvarna down, so Kawasaki. Now in over history I've always loved Kawasaki in every sport, just because as a child green is my favourite colour, and a green bike when I was a child got me excited, and that was Kawasaki. So in my head as little 2 or 3 year olds screaming Kawasaki because they were green. But I know they're not the best, so I might go on a KTM. Be basic, go on a good bike, but I'm not decided yet. I'm going to do a bit more flicking around there, and I'll jump back when I've made the decision. Right, we're back. We've made a decision. We're going to go Bike IT MTX, sorry, Kawasaki. We're going to go with the Kawasaki. I can't resist it. Look at it, it's green. I love it. Anyway, we're going to sign for these bad boys. Do you want to sign with them? You will receive team bike, but you'll not be able to change the components. Yes. So there's career challenges. Go to race. So 13 races, 2 races per event. So it's a 26 race calendar. Customize. I can't really do much customization of the bike. Can't do painting. I can't do graphics. I can change the plate and stuff. I'll do all that off camera just because it'll take me a while to get everything, and I'll customize my rider as well to suit the team colors. Race option. Now I'm going to go and do this now. So double race length. I do short is 3 minutes for qualifying, 5 minutes for each race. Medium is 6 minutes for qualifying, 15 minutes for each race. So I'm going to do medium. I'm going to put it on realistic. I might regret that because I've played one race and it was non-realistic and it was absolutely killer. They are really good in this game from what I've ridden. We're going to leave rider weight on semi-automatic. I found that's better overall. Tear off's automatic. We're going to leave the rewind on just until I get up to speed. Now I probably won't use it, but it is handy for getting screenshots for thumbnails. A little pro tip there. You might actually see in a lot of my videos, you'll see little jumps of where rewind or pause. It's always when I'm taking screenshots. I take about 6 or 7 pictures per MotoGP episode, and I'll do it in all of them just so I have a lot of choice. So when I go to make the thumbnail, if I don't have the right angle, I can change it up. And so I don't think anyone's ever commented on why is there little cuts, because I try and piece the footage together to make it look like it didn't happen. But sometimes you can just notice it. But yeah, that's just usually me pausing it and taking photos. But that should be it. We're just going to give it a double race. So yeah, qualifying and races full weekend. So we're going qualifying and races. Yeah, I want the races for the qualifying as well because I'll need time to get up to speed. So yeah, I think that's it. Let's have a quick look at these challenges. Grand Prix 1. So don't even know what I have to do here. Can't do any of these. Maybe I have to progress further. Contract, I can obviously change as soon as I unlock a higher ranking. But now, yeah, I suppose it is time to get off to Russia. So I have just realized I have made a mistake. I forgot to customize the rider, so the numbers all over the place. I forgot to customize the bike, and more importantly, I have no practice session. We only have a 6 minutes of qualifying, so we don't have long in qualifying. I'm gonna have to spend most of that getting up to speed with the track. So we'll jump to with 15 minutes. We can probably get enough time just to get an understanding, but I'm gonna just do a few laps and I'll probably show you back my fastest lap. So our first qualifying of the year, and we're after getting into a bit of a battle here with some other riders in qualifying. I'm quite a bit off the pace in our first practice. Unfortunately, again, like I said, didn't have practice on, so I went straight into qualifying. I actually turned out I did know the track from Mxgp 2019 was the last one. You can see 0.7 over in the first split, which on any other bike game you say that's terrible, but that was actually quite good that I was under a second. I was kind of using these boys here as a toe, but I ended up passing both of them, and that was probably the worst thing that could happen for my lap because I lost my marker. Still is a pretty good lap overall, but it still is a way off. I think we end up still in P17 at the end of this one, and as the weekend goes on, so with another half a tenth lost or half a second lost there, but as the weekend goes on we do start to understand the track a bit better, and we get up to a feel of the bike. Again, first time riding the bike, we can't be expected to be breaking records. Just into this section here we're a bit awkward in qualifying, but as the races go on, I think maybe it's just with the other bikes, we see the lines they take and there's other lines to be taken on this track. This whole section here we just don't get clean, and in the race I just seem to polish it up a bit better. And in race 1, and especially race 1, I go a lot quicker than my qualifying times, but we're pretty much coming to the end of the session now. But in this last sector the AI seem much quicker than me. Now it isn't pretty clean in my last attempt here, unfortunately. As you see here, Viatic comes over the top of me, almost lands on me, but up to the line we come, 43, and we're 3.7 off. So we end our first qualifying session of the season in P17. Now I'm not massively surprised. I am a fair bit off the top men. Gertz on the Yamaha, I am 3.5 seconds off, so at least we're not last. So there is some slight positives, but anyway, let's get into race 1. So our first race in Mxgp 21 MX2 class. What can we do on the starting grid? Barriers down, and we get a very good initial launch right next to our teammates actually, but our secondary kind of pull away is pretty poor, but they all seem to go for a wide line into 1, and we are up into P5. My goal before the race, as we have a look at inside, almost a huge crash already in my first, and then again another mistake. So 3 corners, 2 almost in the dirt moments. But the goal before the race was a top 15. We qualified 17. I said if I could make up a handful of positions I'd be happy. I just wanted to get a bit more experience on the bike and with the track. And I found a lot that when I was behind the fast boys I could actually go with them a bit better. I could kind of follow them a bit, and maybe it's just use them as a toe, as a bit of a marker reference point. But I did notice lack of rear grip is a big issue in this game. It has been for a while, but this one especially seems pretty bad. Now again, a lower class bike maybe is a bit more susceptible to it, but I found like that kind of tabletop there, I barely ever cleared it. But then again, big mistake there. Just trying to, again, I'm trying a bit harder than I should be to go with these boys, and on the dirt you need to get into rhythm and ride it clean and consistent. When you try and ride hard you make mistakes and you end up doing stuff like I'm doing here. And unfortunately so far it was a good start, but you can see already, look how far we're dropping back. We're already nearly out of range of, I think it's Gertz in P3 at the moment. We're sitting nicely in P4 though. We have a big train in behind us. This one here as well, that tabletop barely making it across, clearing it. And you see a lot more in the second race now in a minute. My traction struggles got a lot worse, and you'll see why in a few minutes time. But end of lap 1, it's almost a 2-minute lap, so we're going to probably get about 7 laps in plus the 9-lap race, give or take. But we're just after dropping back quite a far bit now from P3. The podium men are just tearing up the track. Fast forward here, small bit, just over 11.5 minutes remaining in this one. Riders behind are starting to thin out, but then we make a huge error and we go off track, lose 2 positions. We're down to P6, so that's Gert's teammate Renault, who's up into P4. We're battling with the fellow Kawasaki man Van de, I'm not going to try and say that, I presume he's Dutch with a name like that. Then we actually overshoot it, land in his path, push him, but he just holds a much better line. Then Sandler comes through on the KTM, and he seems to have really good early pace on that KTM. But across the line we come, and it's getting a bit harder in this race for me now as we go back through the pack. A huge few seconds here where we're pretty much crashing every second as we just hold ahead of Fernandez I should say, in P8. But I don't know how much longer I can hold him because he's one of the fastest men on track at the moment. He pulled me in so fast, and I am expecting him to make the overtake any minute now. So he's been pushing, and just watch the absolute dominance of the speed he just used to go through there. Like, I was standing still. I don't know what line he took or what, but he just literally powered through it like I wasn't there. We try and have a little look into two, but we just end up kind of tagging him, roughing him up, but he just drives through it. We're trying our hardest to get on the back, but this guy just literally looks like he's in a different league. He's caught up to P6, which is Sandler, and we're going to try and jump him and go with Fernandez. But his pace again, he's got held up a good bit by the KTM, probably like he did behind me. And Sandler then makes a mistake on the KTM, goes wide. We take back P7, he dives to the inside, and then we just kind of slow down here. We're just going to think, maybe can we dive to the inside here? We land just above it. We're going to send it up the inside. Nice bit of back brake, get it rotated on. Then we have the inside for the downhill section here. Just keep it pinned. Again, we just lost critical half a second to the man in front on the Honda Fernandez, and that is all she wrote. He's probably going to pull away like mad now. But we're much more consistent in the second half of this race. We finally got this section better here. I kept over jumping the second tabletop, and that's why I couldn't get to run onto this one. You can see here, much better landing way down the face of the jump. But here again, just small mistakes here, and that's catching us ever so slightly. Other than that, we pulled away from Sander in P8. Fernandez just disappeared up the road. But P7, as we're halfway around the last lap, coming to the line. Nice bit of scrub there at the end of the race, just to finish off a bit of a decent performance. I actually enjoyed this race a lot. I was expecting pace to be pretty poor and to struggle and just be nowhere all race, battling for last. But like I said, in qualifying we did get away decently well. We got into a kind of a decent group of riders, and we just kind of got pulled along, and it was quite nice just to see where I'm losing time and what lines I'm taking. But Gertz wins it. He passed us and disappeared up the track. Fernandez is up in P6 ahead. He's disappeared, made a huge hole in front of me. But we're going to come home in our first ever MX2 race in P7. I am pretty damn happy with that. We have a nice gap of a couple of seconds over Sander in P8. Up the line we come, P7 on our debut. Buzzing with that one. Great result. Top 15 was my goal. We end up in P7. I can see our fast lap is still quite a bit off. A lot of people behind us were quicker. But you can see Ruben Fernandez was one of the fastest men on track, and you can see why he blasted past me. Diego Gertz wins it from Viale, and Renault, another YZ man, on the podium. So 2 French and a Belgian. So looks like Yamaha having a good start. We are the second highest Kawasaki, but here we are now for race 2, and it is raining. I did mention in the previous race there that it's going to be pretty difficult in race 2 for traction, and this is why. Wet race. Rain in this game has been a problem for years. You see, we actually get a very good initial launch, but just like the second half of the first launch, we just lose it all in the second phase. We get in tight, almost getting the whole shot. Gertz again getting a good launch, and we look for the lead in here, but we can't have it at the moment. We're going to try and cut it to the left here. Can we get the lead? For a split second we were leading, and then up this hill we went just into slipslide mode, and we lost our drive. He just pulls away. But we're in P2. Brilliant start. This is my first time riding in the rain on this Kawasaki, so I had no expectations. I didn't know if I'd go forward, backwards, up, down, left, right. So I was just riding the wheels off it, trying to stick with Diego Gertz at the start of the race, but fortunately his pace was just so fast. You can see already Ruben Fernandez is up into P3. He's batting with Viale in P3 and 4. So Honda versus KTM. Kawasaki in 2, and in the lead is a YZF 250 as it stands. So far, decent opening lap for me. The lack of rear grip so far isn't hindering me as much. I'm riding quite hard, just overshot that there, and I'm really short on the second part of it. But as the race goes on, the rear traction gets worse. You can see Gert's even through there himself is quite slow. We're not dropping back as far as I thought we would. I'm just taking his lines, following him. We just want to get a few laps under our belt in these conditions to see how we go. But they didn't pull away as early like they did in the first race. Fernandez again retaking P3. I presume Viala will take that back very shortly. But we have a second over the third placement as it stands. Again, look, we just don't have the kind of grip and drive that they do. We keep end up short, and that's getting us into trouble, and that is us now into P3. Viala on the outside, and I expect Ruben Fernandez to come through any moment now. So into P3 now, unfortunately we sit, and I'm just waiting for Fernandez in P4 to make a move. His pace was ridiculous in race 1. He actually had a pretty poor start to the first race, and that probably hindered his chance of winning. So I'm kind of expecting him now to blow past any second. We're doing our best to stick with the KTM, slightly wide there, and that has let. It's actually beaten into P3 now. He's taken our podium position. So they're queuing up behind us. The Husqvarna is right on my rear wheel. Yeah, I like taking the wide line. I take a tight one to have better drive and punch down the hill. And just through the section here, I seem to get on the power so early, but it just spins all the way up here. I take a really high berm there just to get a bit of traction every lap. See Gert's in the lead. Pretty comfortable at the moment from the KTM. We're just trying to minimise our mistakes and maximise our drive off these tabletops. Unfortunately, we're still falling short, and that is catching us. And that is even the KTM and the YZF in front of us just disappear up the road, and that is making it a bit harder to defend from the men behind. You can see on the mini-map gaggle of about 7 riders kind of just cooped up behind me, waiting for me to make that mistake. We're doing our best at the moment. We're doing quite well. I'm pretty happy so far with my performance. We're on for a podium at the moment. I don't believe I'll hold it. Eventually I will get there. They're changing positions left, right and centre behind me. Every time I see the gap, there's a new rider in third and fourth position. I'd say I'm just kind of backing them up into each other. Here we go now this time round, and it's Ruben Fernandez who gets me in the first attempt. He just drives through the same place he did in the final of round 1, or race 1 I should say. He got me in the same spot, the final run to the line. Now again, we just want to tuck in behind him, go for another similar move we did, but just look at the spin up the hill. Unfortunately disappeared up the road into the mist, and he was gone. And now this time around there's 2 men up the inside of Kawasaki. We're forced to the outside, and there's just no drive out there. Lose a lot of drive, lose the front a bit and run wide, and that puts us down to P6, beaten into P5, and our Dutch rider on the Kawasaki. So we're pushing now to try and get back with them. I believe I might have the same pace as them, taking the wider line to get a good ride. That was a pretty cool picture there, and they both went for the scrub, opposite scrub, and it was pretty cool. If I was a bit closer, it probably would have been the thumbnail, but I just was a bit too far back. So 5 minutes give or take left in this race. We're sitting pretty in P6 again. We've been passed and dropped comfortably by the AI, and now it is time for Renault. He's already crashed earlier in the race, lap 1. I think in the whole shot he kind of got a collision and went down, but his pace since then has been pretty damn good. So the Frenchman on the YZF 250 showing his hand in race 2 in the wet weather. So again, he's just passed me, P7. He's going to disappear up the road, I believe. I have kind of no answer to these guys when they get past. They just get into a rhythm, metronomic, and blow me away. So it will be something in the future rounds I will have to work on, is just snapping back at them, showing them a wheel, getting back by. I seem pretty decent at defending these guys, but when it comes to racing them, I'm slightly off. But we're not doing too bad here against the YZF. We cut the inside, just don't get the drive. But then again we cut to the inside, cut across his nose, lovely stuff. And that is P6 again. So just as I was saying, we need to improve our hand-to-hand combat with these men. We are just after taking back our position. But again, look just how short we come, and we see the Yamaha just closing in on us. We lose the front. It's lucky to stay on it through that sludgy section there once again, and he lands on us, and that is so crazy. He passes us over and lands on us at the same time. He has the inside. We just leave the brakes a bit early and we cut back and just try and get the drive up the hill, but look, we're just spinning it up in second gear. No momentum up that hill. It's very hard, lap by lap now, 3.5 laps remaining, and we are struggling for that just to power up the hill. We try leaning back, try short shifting, try to go low gear, nothing works. We just lose so much time to the AI for some reason. But we're back into P6 and we're just about holding off the Yamaha man. As I said that, he has a look up into the left-hander. Again, small bit of contact. We go for the wide entry into the following corner. The right-hander, we just take a nice early apex, powered up the hill. Again, we just go up onto the bit of a berm there just to see can we get a bit more traction. And we are holding pretty at the moment in P6, just under 3 laps. So you'd imagine this lap and another 3 would be on the cards. Again, through this rhythm section or so, we make a huge mistake as well there. We're just pushing so hard to try and nail the jumps to fend off the Yamaha man over Renault, and we are kind of on the edge at the moment, so it's going to be difficult to keep P6. If we get 2 P7s, which wouldn't be a bad result at all, go a bit wide there, we just leave the front a touch over the outside berm, and that leaves Renault have a chance back at us. Again, he's snapping at our heels, but we're just doing enough. Again, just short. In this wet weather, we're having an awful time with traction. I'll have to try and play around with gearing, suspension setup, just to get a bit of more purchase in these conditions, because as it stands, I don't think I could ever win a race in this, if this is what the conditions do to the rear tyre. Final lap time. We've managed to hold him off. He's still there. It's not done yet. But now it's Sander, so he's after passing Renoir. So it's KTM now is the hunter behind, not the Yamaha. So another victory for KTM in the 250 class. So race 1 went to Yamaha, race 2 goes to KTM with Viale. We have half a lap left to take our best result in this championship with a P6 and in the rain. I'd be pretty happy with that one. Almost in top 5. Pulled out a bit of a gap here in this last couple of corners. We just need to negotiate this sector and we should be golden. We seem to get good drive downhill that time, and again just short unfortunately, but the AI aren't close enough. They're battling each other. We just have a bit of a moment there, and that gave me a bit of a Friday time. I thought I was going to go over the bars. Into the final sector we come. One more corner to go and it is P6. Get in. Good result. Hard race weekend, but a good overall result. So we end up P6 in the race. Our race lap time, our best lap was 5 seconds almost slower than the Dutch rider on the Kawasaki in front of us. We are seriously slow. I think we lose so much time up the hill that we just cost a lot of time. But you can see we are P7 overall in the race Grand Prix. So P7 for ourselves. Decent overall for our first race meeting. But I am going to leave it there. I'm going to fix a few mistakes I made with this one, put on practice, fix up my number and all that bits. But I hope you have enjoyed episode 1. It was a long one, and I did enjoy racing. It is pretty damn enjoyable, this game. But thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next episode. Bye bye.